Hoshizora no Memoria, Wish Upon a Shooting Star is the fifth visual novel developed by Favorite. Before the game was released, a Prologue Trial Edition was released to the public on February 27, 2009. The standard version of the game was released on March 27, 2009. A fandisk titled Hoshizora no Memoria Eternal Heart, which contained 2 extra routes, was released on January 29, 2010. Both the standard game and the fandisk were sold together in Hoshizora no Memoria Complete, released November 26, 2010. Plot: the story begins with the protagonist, Kogasaka Yu, and his younger sister Tsunami moving back to their hometown of Hibarigasaki. After living for several years in a city, their mother had died, and they returned to Hibarigasaki to live with their aunt Shino. The game switches to a view of the past, where every day after school during the month before he left, Yu would go to the lookout and play with a girl, his first ever friend. Upon learning that Yu was moving to the city, she became extremely upset. She makes a promise with him to return and marry her one day, and kisses him on the forehead. Upon returning to Hibarigasaki years later, Yu stumbles into an abandoned, fenced-off lookout, whereupon he encounters a mysterious girl who looks exactly like his childhood friend did years ago. She introduces herself as Mare, and tells Yu that she had been waiting for him for a long time. Yu points out her unusual clothing and large scythe, and describes her as a Shinigami, a name she takes upon herself. Later, while Yu is visiting Mare at the lookout, she tells him to close his eyes. When he complies, she stabs him in the chest with her scythe. While no blood is drawn or injury occurs, he forgets the name of his childhood friend, and Mare informs him that she has reaped his nightmare. Meanwhile, back at school, Yu ends up joining the Astronomy Lovers Circle, which is in desperate need of new members and has been demoted from an official club to a hobby circle. At night, he continues to visit Mare at the lookout, all the while trying to remember the name of his childhood friend. Gameplay: Hoshizora no Memoria is a romance visual novel in which the player assumes the role of Kogasaka Yu. Much of its gameplay is spent on reading the story's narrative and dialogue. The text in the game is accompanied by character sprites, which represent who Yu is talking to, over background art. Throughout the game, the player encounters CG artwork at certain points in the story, which take the place of the background art and character sprites. When the game is completed at least once, a gallery of the viewed CGs, played background music, and the memory mode, which allows the player to replay the game's erotic scenes, become available in the game's album. Hoshizora no Memoria follows a branching plot line with multiple endings, and depending on the decisions that the player makes during the game, the plot will progress in a specific direction. There are 7 plot lines the player will have the chance to experience, each of them centered around Yu's romance with one of the girls. Throughout gameplay, the player is given multiple options to choose from, and text progression pauses at these points until a choice is made. To view all plot lines in their entirety, the player will have to replay the game multiple times and choose different choices to further the plot to an alternate direction. When first playing the game, only the scenarios for Ajuo, Isuzu, and Komomo are available. To access Tsunami's route, Isuzu's route must be completed. To access Kosam's route, Komomo's route must be completed. To access Yum's route, all previous routes must be completed, and to access Mare's route, Yum's route must be completed. Main characters: Yu Kogasaka, voiced by Nun, the protagonist of the story. After living in the city for years, he and his sister Tsunami move back to their smaller hometown of Hibarigasaki. He remembers a promise he made with a girl when he was a child, and now he is trying to find her. He joins the Tenkaru and gets a job working at a restaurant called the Milky Way. Ajuo Minayoshi, voiced by Fari Samoto, the vice president of the astronomy club who always seems to clash with the student council at Hibariku. She is a maid waitress at the Milky Way, which is owned by her father. She has had feelings for Yu since she was a child but has hidden her feelings from him. Isuzu Oi, voiced by Karen Azuma, Kogasaka's neighbor and a first year at Hibariku. Shy and somewhat cold, she dislikes the Kogasakas at first. However, she slowly opens up and becomes friends with Yu and Tsunami. Has an interest in tarot cards and the supernatural. She is originally from Australia and she longs for the southern starry sky in her memories. Komomo Hisakaki, voiced by Yana Miyazawa, the elder of the Hisakaki twins and the leader of the student council. She tends to have a tsundere personality and hates the stars for unknown reasons. In the beginning she tries to get the Tenkuru abolished, and wants to recruit Yu in the student council. She often gets into arguments with Ajuo. She is a shrine maiden at the Seitengu, which worships a Oshigami. Kosem Hisakaki, voiced by Susanka Tsunoki, the younger of the Hisakaki twins. She has a calm and mysterious personality and often randomly takes sides in arguments. Like her sister, she is also a shrine maiden. Tsunami Kogasaka, voiced by Ren Minazuki, Yukina Fujimori, Yu's little sister. She often refers to herself as Tsunami and tends to talk in third person at the same time behaving in an energetic manner. Extremely childish and immature, she tends to drive her older brother crazy. Mayoress Ephemeral, voiced by Mitsu Anzu, she calls herself a Shinigami, and reaps people's nightmares. Shortly after meeting Yu, she stabs him with her scythe, causing him to forget the name of the girl from the lookout. She resembles the girl that Yu met at the lookout. Yumotetsu, voiced by Soyogi Tano, the girl that Yu met at the lookout. She has an illness that caused her to be sent to the city for treatment, however she returned to Hibarigasaki years later. Minor characters: Sua Satsuna, voiced by Fujiko Ito, a shrine maiden and cousin of the Hisakakis. She works for the main branch of the Seitengu and was dispatched to Hibarigasaki in order to send off a spirit. Haruto Okazumi, voiced by Fami Azura, a third-year student and president of the Tenkuru. He has a tendency to yell "Shiraiite" when something upsets him, which always frightens Komomo. He has a second personality named Taudo which occasionally takes over. In contrast to Haruto, is very brash and has no interest in astronomy. Haruto has a goal of becoming an astronomer at NASA someday. Sokoro Minayoshi, voiced by Shoto Elsa, he is the father of Ajuo and owner of the Milky Way. He is the former president of the Astronomy Club, and he worked as an astronomer at the Science Society before it was closed down. Mirai Ashoka, voiced by Tatsuya Hirai, a second-year student at Hibariku and friend of Yu's. He is the president of the Okaken. Originally the one and only member, he and Yu try and recruit Tsunami into their respective clubs. She ends up joining the Okaken. Suzuha Oi, voiced by Mimo Uzami, a third grader and the younger sister of Isuzu. She is very shy and is easily frightened by strangers. She is chronically ill, which often causes her to miss school for long periods of time. Her parents were forced to return to Japan because her body couldn't handle Australia's harsh desert climate. References: Ryuka registered trademark of Florin AM Florin Cent. Favorite. Retrieved August 5, 2015. Hoshizora no Memoria. VNDB. Retrieved August 5, 2015. External links: Hoshizora no Memoria at the Visual Novel Database.